Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, December 8th, and I'm your host, Kristen McDonald. It's great to have you with us as we end another week here in Norwood. This week on Norwood News, the Circle of Hope lights up the town common. Jack McCarthy gets an update on the middle school construction. The Skating Club of Boston hosts a holiday market. But first, last week, Representative John Rogers, along with State Senator Mike Rush and Norwood town leaders, gathered to remember the life of Tyler Lawrence, a Norwood middle schooler who died due to a senseless act of violence last year. Representative Rogers presented a check from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for $150,000 to help build the Tyler Jacoby Lawrence Memorial Park at the Norwood Municipal Airport. The town of Norwood, along with local and state leaders, have worked to make something positive out of such a senseless act.
Yeah, well, Senator Rush and I got together early in the year after this tragic loss to our community, and we thought it would be fitting if we were able to secure money in the FY 2024 state budget to set aside money and have a state law that would say there shall be a Tyler Jacoby Memorial Park at the Norwood Airport. And we just thought it was a fitting way for us to remember a beautiful member of our community in Tyler. 13-year-old boy that we senselessly lost early in the year. So we think it's a fitting tribute to his memory, to his life. To have this beautiful spot down at Norwood Airport overlooking the Blue Hills in his eternal memory. And we hope that somehow that helps Mrs. Lawrence and her family and her dad help with the grieving process. We just spoke with her, and she says, this type of community act, community awareness, community expression of love really helps her in the grieving process.
On behalf of my father and I, just want to thank the town of Norwood, the elected officials who worked together to make this happen, and my family and friends who have been unwavering in their support and their love and their prayers of me. So I just want to say thank you, and I look forward wholeheartedly to seeing children happily play at the Tyler Lawrence Memorial Park at the Norwood Airport. Thank you.
The town common was all aglow last Saturday as the Norwood Circle of Hope held its annual luminary light. Thousands of illuminated bags lined the common in remembrance of loved ones that have passed away. Circle of Hope President Tim McDonough shared some insight on this long-running event.
Tonight we're here for the Norwood Circle of Hope Foundation. This is our 22nd year of lighting up the town common and kicking off the holiday season. And people always ask, what's it about? Well, they can buy a luminary bag and for $5, and some people just write happy holidays, Merry Christmas, or in memory of mom and dad, and they fill them out. We sell them at Murph's, we sell them at Town Hall, we get them through the mail in a circle that goes out with the electric bills, and all our volunteers fill them out ahead of time, and we put sand in and then the candles, and we've probably got about 2,000 here tonight. So that's a $10,000 night for us, which goes right back. Every penny we raise goes to help people in Norwood, and that's what's so great about the group. This was one of our first fundraisers, and it's always been so successful. It's grown year after year. It started 26 years ago in memory of Michelle Kennedy. Her mom, Lee, started the group to basically raise money to help people in Norwood that are facing catastrophic illness. Lee's daughter, Michelle, had cancer many years ago, and the town supported her tremendously with fundraisers, and she made her mom promise her that, if anything ever happened to her, she didn't make it, that she'd continue doing this for other people in Norwood. And unfortunately, Michelle passed away, but her mom has carried on her spirit for 26 years now, and we've given out over $1 million in that time. So It's a great group, great organization, and it's just Norwood people helping Norwood people, and that's what makes it so special. Just want to wish all our friends and all our supporters all the best for the holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Thank you so much for what you do for us all year long, and we're so grateful for your help so we can help other people.
When Norwood News returns, we learn about Riverside Community Care and the programs they offer. Jack McCarthy gets the latest on the Coakley construction, and the Italian Lodge celebrates a milestone anniversary.
Norwood Community Media has its own video on-demand channels. You can go to our website, norwoodcommunitymedia.org, and click on whichever on-demand channel you are looking for, whether it be things to do in the community, events at the schools, or town government meetings. Once you click on one, you are going to be taken to a screen in which you can search for stories or videos you missed on TV or just want to watch again. Just click on the search bar on top of the page and start typing. Once you've found what you're looking for, just click in the middle of the video where the play button is and you are off enjoying one of the 3 on-demand channels NCM has to offer.
Mental health has been a consistent topic over the past few years. The Norwood Police Department and Riverside Community Care have partnered together to start the Mobile Crisis Intervention Police Drop-Off Jail Diversion Program. NCM learned more about this program and its importance.
So here at Riverside Mobile Crisis, we do mental health evaluations and interventions to assess for safety and higher levels of care, and then provide the appropriate recommendations and resources as necessary. We are a 24/7 service. We're able to have people come into the office. We're able to mobile out to their homes, do telehealth, and we also accept walk-ins. Some of the things that we see people for is for suicidal ideation, for increased anxiety or depression, and things like that. We're able to kind of meet people where they're at and go from there, provide services.
Me and Kelsey work collaboratively. We wrote a grant about a year and a half ago. We were able to get a jail diversion program clinician in-house, so she's stationed here within the Norwood Police Department. She works 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, and this allows us to go out and kind of oversee some of the mental health calls for service. Where anything that comes in, we're able to follow up in regards to people who need services. We're able to get them, and the biggest thing is in a timely manner. We want to make sure that we're getting people services within a time span that works best for them and not a delayed process. We have about 65 sworn personnel. I believe last time I checked, it was up about 45 to 50 officers, which would put us well over the 70%, close to 80% threshold in regards to officers who are CIT trained within the department. Chief's done a great job utilizing the services and making sure that we're all CIT trained. Obviously, our calls for mental health have gone up over the past years, and so it's a big thing, and it's definitely what we're aiming for.
So what usually happens when I'm needed at a call is the officer will request me over the radio, or if we're both in the station, then I'll ride along with them in their cruiser to go out to the call. What happens when I usually get there is I'm updated by the officer about what's going on in the situation, and then I'll go and speak with the individual. And what I'm usually looking for during this evaluation is if that individual is a danger to themselves or others, if they're unable to care for themselves, or if there's any resources that I can think of that might be able to help them in their situation. If I do find in this evaluation that they are a danger to themselves or others, then I will coordinate with Riverside and the doctor that's on call that day to see if a Section 12 is needed. And if we all agree, then we will issue a Section 12. So a Section 12 is filled out when someone needs to be sent to the hospital involuntarily because they're unable to safely remain in the community. So there's those situations when a Section 12 isn't needed, but the individual still wants to hear about any resources that Riverside can provide during that exact moment. So in this case, myself and the officer will transport the individual in the cruiser to Riverside to speak with a clinician there at the Mobile Crisis Intervention Team, or MCI. And so we'll bring them inside to Riverside. I will call ahead beforehand to make sure that a clinician is available and let them know that we're coming. And so we'll bring them into MCI. And once they're sitting down with the clinician, if police support isn't no longer needed, then myself and the officer will leave them with the clinician there and we'll head out.
We can offer all different types of resources and referrals for clients. We're kind of a bridge service for most of these programs. Depending on the insurance, we could connect them with an urgent outpatient appointment intake. We also can connect people with partial programs, day programs, CCS, community crisis stabilization, and as well as just intensive outpatient programs as well. So they have their own entrance that they bring all the person serves to. So that is on the side of our building. So they don't have to go through the waiting room for outpatient in the CBHC. That way it could be full of people, and sometimes that could be uncomfortable for a lot of people. So when Officer Cedrone and or Kelsey or any officer at any time of day drops someone here, we're able to take the client into one of our interview rooms where we gather some information right from the client. If they're able to do so, we have them fill out paperwork. And while they're filling that out, we talk with the officer and or Kelsey, whoever was dropping the person off. And we get clarification on what had happened, why they were called to the scene. And if it's safe to do so, the officer will leave. We have a crisis intervention specialist who is always notified here. And they are trained specifically to deal with the walk-ins and provide support to them. So they are always notified and they're always around. So in case we do need them, they're there for additional support as well. And then we do the assessment and determine what is needed for person served.
On a monthly basis, we average probably about 15 to 20% for mental health calls related. Those can stagger anywhere between mental health, well-being checks, Section 12s, and voluntary evaluations. So anytime there is a well-being check or a voluntary evaluation, it's protocol that you call the Norwood Police Department first. We'll get there and assess, and if we do determine, it's going to be a well-being check, it turns into a voluntary evaluation. That's when we'll get Kelsey involved in our protocol and see what works best. If there is openings over at MCI, we would prefer to bring them, but there is certain criteria that they have to meet. They cannot be violent or hostile. They have to willingly, voluntarily go. And the other end is if you do have that Section 12, that's more likely when they are going to go to the hospital because it's not safe for them to be in the community. So it's a case-by-case scenario. A well-being check could be anywhere from an individual calling saying there's a person acting erratically out on the side of the road, or a well-being check could come in, could you respond, my residence, my mom, we're unable to make contact with her. A well-being check could be simply, could you go and check on an individual who suffers from some mental health issues, he's been off his medication, he's acting erratically. So well-being checks come in a wide variety of ways, and the only way to actually know what you have is to go there and assess it, talk to them, and try to come to some sort of resolution.
Any calls that are involving mental health or well-being checks that mental health is a possible factor are ones that I'll absolutely go out on. And then there's also ones where the officer will realize that an individual is either homeless or struggling with substance use. And so then I'll go out on those to speak with them to offer any resources such as shelters, inpatient or outpatient programs, or anything else that might be able to help them.
Kelsey definitely makes my job easier. She comes with a lot of experience. Having her background, she's really good. She's empathetic with people. She takes initiative, and she cares for people. And I think her biggest thing is she's really compassionate. She's understanding, and she's knowledgeable in the fact that she's willing to utilize and get people the services that they want. She follows up with people relentlessly. She's constantly being bothered by some of our officers here to conduct follow-ups and get the resources that are needed in order for our individuals within the town who do suffer from some sort of mental health issues. And I think that's her biggest attribute here within the police department. We're very grateful that we have her.
Great progress is being made at the site of the new Coakley Middle School. With steel construction almost complete, Jack McCarthy gets an update from Senior Project Manager Bethany King of W.T. Rich.
Well, if you can see behind me, you can see a lot of progress has happened since the last time we were at the Coakley Middle School. As always, I'm joined by Bethany King, Senior Project Manager for W.T. Rich, who are the construction managers on the project. So tell us what's been going on.
Well, Jack, you see a lot of steel here. We finished up Zone C. The decking has gone down, so we've been prepping the floors for concrete. And then we're in Zone B, wrapping that up now with steel, and we're actually moving into Zone A with a topping off ceremony scheduled for December 20th. So things are looking good here.
So speaking of wrap, what's that wrapping?
So that's a temporary building enclosure that's meant to hold the heat inside of the building, because we're going to be pouring concrete slabs, and we also have some fireproofing going on. So we're just trying to keep it warm in there.
And what do we have for bodies on working today?
Today officially I think we got 51, so we got crews ramping up here. We have a lot of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection crews starting to mobilize, because we're laying out for their work through the slabs, and then they're going to start roughing.
Wow, it just seems like a lot's happening. The steel looks like it's flying.
They're going. I think last month we gave the update that they were doing really well, and they've maintained that. Norwood up in Canada has been able to maintain the steel deliveries down here, and they are projecting ahead of schedule, so they're doing pretty good.
So, you know, one of the things we don't usually have a chance to do is to talk about the company. So tell us a little about W.T. Rich.
W.T. Rich, so our goal is to be the best public construction manager in the state of Massachusetts. So we do a lot of public work, a lot of school work. Norwood specifically, this has been a great partnership we've had with your team since we got brought on board last year. And yeah, we're mainly in the eastern side of Massachusetts with a lot of projects going on right now.
And there's still Riches involved.
There are still Riches involved. Yes, Jonathan Rich is our CEO, and Johnny Rich, his cousin, is our general superintendent. So Walter has slowly been retiring, but also stays involved and comes to our company parties as well.
I remember, say hi to Walter for me.
I will.
I remember talking to Walter one time, and I said, you know, what makes you tick? He goes, every project has my name on it, and that's important to me.
He is the W of the WT, correct. And just before COVID, he was still coming in the office every day of the week. So he likes to keep his finger on the pulse, and he's an awesome guy.
NCM will continue to provide construction updates as the middle school construction moves ahead. As part of its holiday activities, the Morrow Memorial Library held its 10th annual Library Book Tree Lighting. Library Director Clayton Cheever tells us how this year's event went.
We are lighting the annual library book tree today. This is the 10th year that we've had a book tree, and it's very exciting to have the community come. We have lots of little helpers who came and helped us turn on the lights for the season.
3, 2, 1.
This is the 10th year. Like I said, this is the 10th year that we've had the book tree, and people every year can guess how many books are in the tree. We have staff members who every year design it just a little bit differently. They decorate it. There's some really special stars that are on there that are made of old recycled book jackets to make it and continue the literary theme. And I just read some seasonal books. So I read a book about a polar bear and a mouse who disagreed about the tree and just enjoyed different ways of decorating, but they realized what's most important is when we can celebrate together, and that's really the gift, and that's something we always like to share. We are all stronger when we come together. I read a book about Hanukkah mice and people discovering things behind every flap and all the different things, the wonderful discoveries that we can make at the holiday time of year as we bring light through darkness. And then the third book that I read was called Dusk, and it was about an old man with a beard and a boy and his dog walking through a city, watching things get dark and all the people running to and fro, and then the lights coming on, and all the different traditions that celebrate all the different types of lights that help bring life to the darkness. And that's what we get when we come together as well, is just shining more light so we can all see a little bit better and stay warm and take care of each other.
Now let's toss it over to Jordan Robinson for the latest in school news.
I'm Jordan Robinson. Let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. In Norwood High School news, Students of the Month are seniors who are involved in the 4 A's: academics, arts, athletics, and activities. These students are role models for other students and are nominated and selected by the faculty. The Students of the Month for November were Stephanie Kotiki and Connor Curran. At the Coakley Middle School, students in 7th grade history classes made replicas of artifacts from the early American civilizations. They had studies such as the Maya, Aztec, and Inca. They each created a small place card to accompany their artifact with a title. the civilization it came from, dates, materials, and a brief description of the object. The artifacts and place cards were all displayed all together, and students had the opportunity to visit the museum they created. The Balch third graders recently held a gallery walk where they displayed and presented their life cycle projects. After learning about life cycles and science, the students chose an animal which they researched. Next, they wrote a report describing the steps in their animal's life cycle. After that, the students worked in groups to design and build a diorama which illustrated the steps of the animal's life cycles and the environment in which the animal lives. Teachers and administrators were then invited to the gallery walk where the students made presentations and were excited to share all they had learned about their life cycles. The third graders thank all those who attended. Also at the Balch, students in Miss Davis's second grade class created bird feeders. They explored different types of birds, eating different types of food out of different types of feeders. Kids had lots of fun while building bird feeders that keep squirrels away. The topic for Callahan School's monthly assembly was gratitude. 2 student leaders in grade 5 led the assembly and asked student volunteers questions like what they are grateful for at home and at school, and who makes them smile and care about them. Callahan students learned when they practice gratitude, it makes them feel happier. Some examples of students showing gratitude are Miss Walsh's first grade class wrote thank you cards to veterans. Miss Salaba's second grade class made a gratitude tree. 5th grade classes created gratitude quotes. Callahan students appreciate the people and things in their lives. At the Cleveland School, thanks to the PTO, the students got to see a laser show focusing on American history, as well as an education on how the lasers work. At the Prescott School, they had their monthly Character Strong Assembly to highlight their previous trait of the month and introduce their new trait of the month. In November, staff were looking for students who exemplify gratitude in all areas of their life. Students were nominated for Student of the Month for showing gratitude and appreciation while at the Prescott. The winners were, from grade 1, Tyler and Adeline. From grade 2, Elena, Wyatt, and Sharvie. From grade 3, Allie, Christian, and Lalisa. From grade 4, Jeremiel, Logan, and Romesa. From grade 5, Tanisha. Students who win are given a certificate from Mr. Riley, are featured in a special bulletin board, and are highlighted in Mr. Riley's newsletter room. Students were then introduced to a new trait of the month for December, responsibility. Stay tuned next month to see who those winners are. Kindergarten students at the Willett Early Childhood Center have been learning about animals all month long. The ELA My View curriculum is focused on what living things need, and the Mystery Science unit, Animal Secrets, has focused on animal behaviors. The students have learned about animal behaviors, animal homes, and how animals adapt to their environments. This cross-curricular study was made extra special on Friday by a visit from yearly favorite Jim Parks from Wingmasters. The students were able to meet and learn about real-life owls. Mr. Jim always reminds the students and staff to look up, because these owls are all around us. This week, at the Little Mustangs preschool, they dove into learning about holidays beginning with Hanukkah, which started on sundown on Thursday, December 7th. Students listened to stories about the menorah and the rich foods enjoyed during the 8-day celebration, like latkes and brisket. They sang the dreidel song, played dreidel and dice games, and made menorahs to kick off the season. The students enjoyed learning about the ancient festival of lights. Well, that's it for school news. The students are always learning, and thanks to all the educators who share their school news with us. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be heading over to the Skating Club of Boston and to the 4 Point Sheridan. We'll be right back.
Planning Board met Monday night, continuing discussion on the proposed zoning amendments for the 3A MBTA overlay and accessory dwelling units. Director of Community Development, Sarah Dixon, discussed one of the major changes made to the map for Norwood Depot.
I made some changes to the map to correct some issues from prior. The new map for Norwood Depot includes just the crossings property. It does not include the housing authority, nor does it include the old parish cemetery like it did before. It is 5 acres exactly, which meets the minimum requirement for a sub-district. So that was a topic of conversation we had earlier about including land, that wasn't necessary. So this is really the minimum size for a sub-district. So that's the major map change there.
The school committee met this week and had multiple appearances from both faculty and students. Principal of Norwood High, Dr. Galligan, recognized all fall athletes and fine arts students for a great season. The Student Advisory Council gave updates on activities and events happening at the elementary schools and middle school. NHS French teacher Mr. Bueller requested approval for the France class trip, and both Teresa Stewart and Kate Sibbing-Dunn expressed their concerns.
And maybe you and Dr. Galligan can speak to how those students are going to approach making up whatever they miss and how that would work.
Yes. So while the students are in school in France, we will allocate a certain block of time each day for them to stay on top of their Norwood schoolwork through Google Classroom and just be able to stay abreast with what's going on in Norwood.
I mean, obviously the concern is just that they would either be held back by, or not punished, but miss out on something and then be sort of the consequences of that, right? So as long as administration and other teachers are all working together on it, I would imagine.
I think we were able to work together on that, and I will be in contact with the teachers also, and if there's concerns, obviously the students that get put or that are allowed to go on the trip have to be in good academic standing in the first place.
Yep. So I definitely support the opportunity. I am struggling with the date, and I did email in advance, which I think you saw.
Yeah.
And on the form that we have, it explicitly says no senior trips are allowed during term 4. This is during term 4, and also says not allowed the week of or the week prior to AP week. And I think AP week starts right when they get back.
The following week, yes.
So I am a little concerned about that.
Yeah.
And also, it just feels very uncomfortable to me to approve something on a form that explicitly says do not approve this, and now you're asking me to approve it. And I'm also wondering, where did that come from? Because I don't think that's in our policies.
I kicked it back to him and said, look, is there any other way that we can do this and shift the dates around? And the answer is yes, we could, but the learning experience would not be what it would be if the dates were as requested for the students. The immersion into the schools and the culture and the families of the community that the students are visiting would not be the same. It would be more of a touristy trip, which has value for sure, but the immersive experience certainly carries more.
Yeah.
I am comfortable with it. Ms. Kaplan, the department chair, is comfortable with it, but certainly it's a decision of the committee.
Can we take the vote?
Yes, we absolutely can take the vote.
The original motion was vote to approve.
And it was seconded by Teresa for discussion. So all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So that fails 3 to 1. 1 to 3. Motion to approve contingent on the exploration of additional dates that would not interfere with senior students' activities. NAP testing.
The next school committee meeting will be on Wednesday, December 20th. Also on Wednesday, the Conservation Commission met at the Senior Center, where they held 6 public hearings ranging from locations on Union Street to Moore Street. One Moderna Way requested a minor change to the order of conditions, and the commission approved with a condition of finding a new location for vegetation to be planted on campus. The meeting concluded with a discussion about an unexpected alteration to the Bernie Cooper Park cul-de-sac and an approval of the signing of the Boston Providence Enforcement Order. On Saturday, the Skating Club of Boston held their first ever Norwood Holiday Market. There were over 35 vendors with arts and crafts, Santa's workshop, pictures with Santa and Mrs. Claus, touch a Zamboni, and of course, skating. The Skating Club of Boston has always wanted to do a community event that wasn't just skating, and the Norwood Holiday Market was a big success.
So this was our first holiday market, not something we have a ton of experience in. So we brought folks in who did have experience. And we had, one person who curated all the interest from vendors in being part of this. So we were pretty selective about it. And then we knew what resources we had already working with families and kids. So that's where we came up with the idea for Santa's workshop at the North Pole and how we would do it. Of course, we have skating here all the time, so there was included skating and skate rentals all day. We have an on-site kitchen, so we knew we wanted to have specialty cookies and fun things like that. So we really brought together all the resources we normally have, added a few more with the vendors, and then put together what was our holiday market. When we moved to Norwood and were first talking with everybody here, we knew we wanted to do things in the community and not just be a private club or public skating place. So this holiday market is one way we can do things for and with the Norwood community. And that's something we'd wanted to do when we first built and opened the Skating Club of Boston. How can we be more and not just skating, and what other things can we do that supports and attracts the community? And this holiday market is probably the first big thing we've done outside of skating, even though it does include, of course, skating.
So I'm here to show my work and hopefully sell some and connect with other artists and be involved in this wonderful community event. So I make handmade functional and decorative ceramics. It's all made by me. Some of my work is done on the wheel and some of it is done sculptured by hand. All of the work is microwave and dishwasher safe. And I have met so many wonderful people today. It's been great. What a crowd we've had. And I'm really hopeful to come back next year and do it again.
So we were really happy with the first Norwood Holiday Market here at the Skating Club. It's something we want to do again. We'll be sending out questionnaires to folks who attended and to our vendors. How can we improve it? But our hope is really to make this an annual tradition because folks really seem to have a good time and we had amazing turnout. And on behalf of the club's leadership, management, and membership, we want to wish everyone in Norwood a safe, happy, and joyous holiday season.
Thank you to the Skating Club of Boston for creating a fun day for all ages and a new tradition here in Norwood. It was such a great way to get our holiday spirit going. The Norwood Italian Lodge turned 100 this year and celebrated the milestone at the 4 Point Sheraton. Lodge President Steve Esco opened the event with the pledge to the flag and acknowledged some special guests. A brief history of the Italian Lodge was given by Tony Esco, and Board of Selectmen Chair Matt Lane greeted guests on behalf of the town of Norwood.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Steve Esco, President of the Norwood Italian Lodge, 1235. Please find yourself a glass and raise it with the salute and buona fortuna, a toast. Good health for all, and especially to our Italian Lodge, and good luck to our lodge over the next 100 years. Salute.
The event was covered in full by Norwood Community Media and will be made available on demand and on the NCM Community Channel. Congratulations to the Lodge on this very special anniversary. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're going to leave you with a list of upcoming events NCM will be covering in Norwood. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.